Hi and welcome. In this video, I'm going to answer to the most common question I've got yesterday at my conference. As a technical profile, how can I evaluate a developer? That's a tricky question, as your company might require different kind of skill set actually. But here are the methodology I recommend you to follow. Let's assume that you want the best full stack developer, with at least a previous experience as a lead developer. So he will be able to set up and organize the work of your future development team. In that case, you need to check 5 skill set areas. The first is his skills as a front-end developer, then as a back-end developer, as an infrastructure manager, which also means cloud manager, and the team leader, the management skill set, and finally, his market understanding. Okay, but how to evaluate someone else's skill if you do not have this skill set yourself? So I would refer to a quote I really like. If you want to master something, teach it. So to speak, the best way to evaluate your developer's skill set is to ask him to teach you what he's going to do and how he based his decision-making system when it's about choosing technologies or whatever or the other solution he needs to choose. So let's analyze each of these 5 areas and ask 2 questions for each. Then his front-end skills. First question, can you explain what is a front-end framework and how it works and how it communicates with my information system? That's the first question he should answer. And basically, if he's good, if your developer is good, he will be able to explain that the front-end is something that runs on the computer, on the mobile or the mobile application directly of the client computer and communicate with the backend system, communicate through API usually. And there are several frameworks that can be used to develop these kind of features. And the most common framework are Angular, JS, Vue.js, or React. All of them are pretty good. I have a tight preference for React, but whatever, the other one can work as well. Try to avoid Backbone, which is kind of an old JS framework, and I have a couple of startups that has some difficulties with it. Okay, next question. Okay, so what are the drawbacks of common front-end frameworks that you know, and among all of them, which one would you recommend? And in that case, try to see how he make decision and how he share with you his decision-making process. That's very important because along the way, you will have so much decision to take, and that will be interesting at some point that he share the pros and cons of each technologies, and you, as a business founder, you make a decision based on that. Okay, next part, his backend skill set. Let's ask this first question. Someone recommended me to use microservices. Can you tell me what it is? And is it something that we should consider for our project? In that case, microservices is a trendy new way of building software. Not all developers are aware of it, but that can guide you and give you a pretty good understanding of if he's senior or not and if he listens what others do. And the big advantage of using microservices is that you're going to delegate some small piece of software to a cloud provider so that you connect all of them and you will have an entire information system that can be very, very reliable, especially in terms of updates when you need to solve some issues. So that's a good sign if your developer maybe consider in the future to use microservices. Next question. Regarding our data, I read something about SQL or no SQL. But can you explain me the difference and how should we make a decision between one or the other? Which criteria should we based on our decision? And basically both are good. Old SQL is the old-fashioned, while NoSQL are the most recent way to do things. SQL has a huge advantage because it structures things. It's pretty simple if you want to create some dashboards. While for NoSQL, it's going to be faster for the developer to develop the application, but you will have a couple of drawbacks in terms of reporting again. The huge advantage of NoSQL is when you want to manage a very large amount of data. In that case, it will be pretty simple to scale up. Okay, next part. Infrastructure and cloud skills. Okay, let's ask him this question. Can you tell me what a database as services is, or a backend as a services is? This is again a new way of managing development by delegating everything where you do not have value on. And managing a database server, you don't have any value to manage that. It's always better to delegate that to a cloud provider. So Amazon Web Services, Google, Microsoft, and IBM provides a lot of solution for all of them. The backend as services, you might ask the difference is when you're going to be able to integrate some codes on the backend directly. So that means that a part of your backend system will be directly handled by your cloud provider. A good solution for mobile application is Firebase, provided by Google, but all cloud providers have this kind of features. Next question, regarding my infrastructure, what solution would you recommend to have a reliable and fail-over system without paying large fees to a hosting company? The classical way to create to host a website is to have a server, to manage it, and that's it. If your server is down, your website is down. While you have other solutions like cloud providers, again, Google, Amazon Web Services, where you can just give them your piece of code and they run it for you. And if there is anything on the server, they just monitor it, they relaunch it. You can have several servers in parallel, which means that if one of them crash, your website is always on, and that's a lot better. That's a lot better solution. So be sure that your future developer is at least aware of what exists, whether it's on whatever the cloud provider solution is actually. And finally, that's the management skill set. There is also the understanding later. If tomorrow, let's ask that question. If tomorrow we hire 2 new developers, how would you organize their to-dos? How would you ensure that we meet the deadline? And in that case, definitely the answer that we are expecting is agile methodology. Because with agile methodology, you have something which is called the burn down chart, which enable us to track on daily basis where we are at on the deadline and if we are good or not. And now let's ask him the question: assuming that you are alone for now, what do you plan to do to organize your own to-do and keep you focused on the planning and give us, as a business owner, give us some output on where you are today. And again, you can stick to the agile methodology, being sure that he's gonna have a to-do list somewhere, whether it's on the best would be maybe Jira to manage your to-do, because it's very straightforward for agile methodology, but it can be a Trello, whatever. What is very key is to be sure that you have a single place where you have all your to-dos and above all the backlog. Regarding the market understanding, your market actually, the goal of this part is to be sure that your lead developer is able to link your business needs to solutions, and above all, prioritize the customer's expectation. So the first question that you might ask would be, how do you recommend us to evaluate our development tasks and prioritize it with the relation of our customers regarding the customer's expectation? And in that case, the answer is the backlog. The backlog is on agile methodology where we put all the to-dos, and then we decide on weekly, bi-weekly, 2-weekly, or 3-week meeting, a planning meeting, where we're gonna review all the tasks, how many time they should take, and decide what we're gonna do next. That's the answer that you should expect at that point. And the last question, but not least, very important. Let's put that. if tomorrow we find a bug on the production, what process would you follow to correct it in the fastest and more reliable way? And in that case, what is important to understand and to be sure is that your developer have this DevOps mindset, which means he knows how to deploy application in a very straightforward way while running some tests. The answer to that question should be, okay, we have a bug in production. First, I check that bug on development. Then I deploy it on test environment. As a business owner, we all can double check that the bugs is not there anymore. And as soon as it's checked, we press another button and it's automatically deployed on production. What is important, and regarding the DevOps methodology, is that you are able to deploy application by just pressing one button. That's the key. And that's what I highly recommend you to do. Okay, I hope that checklist will help you in your recruitment process. Feel free to download the checklist just below. And don't forget to check all the other courses that we have on myctofriend.co. Take care and see you soon.